We actually got to get into like your showroom and everything you guys do in terms of the furniture crafting and all that, because that was one of, I think, the most interesting things that I saw on your page that you did, because of like what it, again, I don't know, I'm very inexperienced, but like what I felt would go into that is mind blowing. So is there any way you could walk us through that process? And honestly, if you are okay doing it, can you like walk us through from start to finish? How at such a young age, I believe 16, you got into that business with your family, or was that just entrepreneur ventures in general?
So the shop that we have now, we had when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I was like 7 years old, cutting stuff out on the bandsaw. And, you know, employees would come back from lunch and my dad would bust them and be like, why am I paying you when my 7-year-old is like better at this than you are?
Yeah.
So I've been around it my whole life. And I'll preface this by saying, and this is what I tell everybody, I'm able to do this. I have the eye to do it and the capability of doing it. This is what my dad was put on earth to do. Like, I've been around it for, you know, pushing 4 decades.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he comes up with still impresses the living hell out of me.
Your dad's the master.
Oh, he's the master, but also the jack of all trades.
Oh,
he's
really?
the master with furniture, but the jack of all trades with everything else, because he does a million things
That's interesting.
himself too.
That's interesting.
But so I'll give you the nickel story. He started in my grandparents' 2-car garage in Plains in 1975. And within a handful of years, he built up to 140 employees. He was number 1 in ready to assemble or knock down furniture in the country. Wow. He was all over Macy's and JCPenney's and Saks. On The Price is Right, his stuff was like the showcases that you could win.
Wow.
And so like he did that for a little while and, you know, became very well known, did very well for himself, sold all over the world. In the 90s, when like everything started going overseas, he decided to get out of it. He was getting a little burnt out, and it was just like, you know, whatever. So he did a handful of other things. He went to China like 24, 25 times with.
Wow.
He had a business with like one of his partners. I've been there a couple times too.
To China?
Yeah, kind of wild.
Wow. That's dope.
But so I like maybe 6 years ago, something like that, we started seeing some of his pieces pop up on these high-end auction websites.
Oh yeah, that's what you were talking about before.
And so like the one Shays Lounge that we would see multiple pop up, and people would like refabricate them with you know, fur or whatever else. He used to sell 300 of those a week for $69. We're seeing them sell on these websites for $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. So I looked at him and I'm like, you know, you're still alive, right? I'm like, somebody's, you know, making money off of our name, might as well be us. So we decided to get back into it, but instead of doing the mass produce and, you know, competing with the big box, you know, stores and retailers and whatnot, we're like, let's do high end, custom, you know, one of a kind, limited edition pieces that people can't get. So like our customers are able to come into the showroom and be a part of the design process. Like, you know what you want to do with your space, you know what colors you want, so on and so forth. We're here to facilitate. You like that chair over there, but you want a different fabric on it with different color arms, or you need a table this size by this size and you want it this color with this base. We'll do that for you. And like, I think that it's safe to say that nobody around here is doing that. And we've had people walk into our showroom from literally all over the country. We have a table going out to Park City, Utah next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like literally all over the country, and people are like, this stuff is wild. And you know, so right now the product is there. We're in the process of like continuing to get our name out there, because I'm getting real sick and tired of people walking in and being like, oh my God, like I just did all this stuff at my house. If I knew you were here, I would have used you.
Yeah.
So we're like, we got to get in front of these people so that when these projects come up, we're top of mind.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, that's basically what it is. And so it's essentially just him and I, and his girlfriend, you know, helps out too. But we, like, I'm in the showroom. He's at the shop. If I need him to come down for a consult, he'll come down. If he needs me to go down there because we have a big order or whatever else, I'll go down there. So like it kind of works. Also because if we were around each other all day, every day, we'd probably murder each other.
Yep.
But
It's kind of cool that you guys have your own like little solo endeavor in the overarching business, though. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
well, hopefully this helps with like getting that word out.
That'd be awesome. And I think, and you're right. And I think that it's nobody could do it all.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to need people who could, you know, go sell for you or do the administrative work or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So like, like it works for us where, you know, we figured out a way and we're both efficient when we work. So, you know, we're able to, you know, make money and help these customers and clients at the same time.
It's a really cool industry to be in.
It is.
Making custom furniture. I bet you guys have a really cool living room. I bet
the entire house of my dad's, or the entire house of my dad's house, like he started doing it in maybe late 90s, like early 2000s, and like redid the entire thing. The first dining table that we did, 14-foot long, wide plank pine. It's like 4 pieces of like, it was like 16-inch planks of pine. And we built that, put that in the dining room, and it still wasn't enough to have all of our family over for, you know, like Christmas.
That's dope.
And,
Yeah.
When we blow this thing up, we're gonna order a custom GG table.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm gonna.
You got to give us the logo. We'll throw it in some epoxy right in the center.
Dude,
of the
That's
table.
awesome. So like, that's exactly what I was just about to show you.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna
like,
go pee real quick.
did you ever hear of these guys?
Yeah.
Full Send.
Yeah.
So they did this one thing that I seen forever ago, and I literally seen this photo right when we started the podcast. And it was actually, funnily enough, when we were in your shop, I showed him this image because, like, I always thought, like, for the podcast, I wanted something exactly like this one day. So I'm going to show you exactly what that. I'll put it on the screen too. Xavier, can you write down the time? Full Send table. Let's try this one more time. It's awesome though, man. I love this. If you guys, I'd imagine you probably would be able to do something like this. But I think it's so badass. Yeah, this thing right here. I don't know why my phone's going crazy. So here, you can just get a little idea of what I'm referring to. It's like the wood, and then they pour like that. You said it's the epoxy, like the resin pour, right?
Yeah, we could do that all day, every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way that table looks.
Yeah,
I was just telling him about that. How I it's kind of ironic. How I literally like that table. You know what table I'm talking about? That Full Send one.
Dude, you can do it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And with that, like, do you guys have certain colors? Like, are you guys green or?
We're
like,
orange and blue.
Yeah.
That's our colorway.
Syracuse.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'd be able, like, that is just a red pigment at the bottom.
Yeah.
Or it could be full throughout, depending on what you wanted to do with it. But yeah, you could do it with orange pigment, blue pigment.
So is that how it is? It's like that on the bottom, and then it's like clear up top, but it just shines through.
Well,
is
so
that like how that works?
there's 2 ways of doing it. With something like that, you typically can't pour all at once.
Yeah.
You have to do it in layers. So some of them you could, like, your first pour will have the pigment mixed in it, and then all of your other ones will be clear above it. So like the one, I don't know if you saw it, but the one, we have a small like desk or like small dining table, and then up against the wall we have the large dining table version of it with the wood in it, like completely flooded by the epoxy. So that has the pigment on the bottom, and then it's layers of clear above it. So you could do that, or you could put the pigment in every layer, and then you just have that like opaque pigment throughout the whole thing. You won't have any depth to it, but you know you'll have the color the whole way.
That's one thing. Like I love like aesthetic. Like I love that vibe, and I feel like I love this table. This table has been with us through everything. This is like actually the first thing we ever put in the studio was this table. It was just you bought it with the house.
Oh
right?
no, yeah, this came in the house. So when I moved in, this was just hanging out in here.
Nice.
So like we're gonna have to keep this one around for something. I'm too emotionally attached to this table, but like a table like that, oh my god, I love the idea of doing something like that. Table is so badass.
Well, I mean,
you know what I think would be cool, bro? You ever see the one in Rogan's comedy club?
The little snake John.
There's a snake in it.
I was gonna look that up. I'm gonna show you that one too.
And you know what would be cool? Imagine one with like a sword in the middle or some shit.
Yeah,
so cool.
so we could put anything. We could put anything in the epoxy. I mean, you might even be able to take this table and like route out a little river in it.
Yeah.
And then throw the stuff in there.
it's pretty like this table is pretty thin and cheap. We'll get there. Hold on, I want to see. They don't have
In due
like
time.
they don't have like a clear enough image of it, at least to my knowledge that I could find. But just so you get like a little idea, they have like that's like just a weird little screenshot of it. They have like a little snake swimming like through the wood. Like it's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
Let's put a picture right here.
Yeah, I will. That's a pretty terrible picture, so I'll see if I can find a better one. But that's like the little snake going through the I thought it was a dragon at first, but it's like the snake going
really
like
cool.
peeking and swimming through the wood. I think that's awesome. But I love that kind of stuff. Like
Absolutely.
That's one thing, like hopefully like as the funds get higher for this pod, one thing he and I really care about is like creating like a cool aesthetic in here and like
cool environment, yeah.
Definitely.
So well, especially like when we upgrade and get a bigger and better studio too, it'd just be awesome. Like I love that stuff. I can get into that all day.
Yeah, that's a really creative endeavor though, what you guys do over at that shop.